So let's all turn within for our first prayer in community of 2014. As I dip into this unconditionally loving, absolutely intelligent, infinite and immortal essence of all of life, I know that I am home. I know that this one life, forever and ever in and through all of creation, expressing itself through every realm and dimension, more immense than we could possibly ever fathom, and as intimate as the next impulse for our heart to beat. It is everything. And so whether we call that God or Allah or Great Spirit or the love intelligence that unifies all that is, it is all that is. And I am of that. Nothing else to be or become. The life that is within me and expressing through me is the holy life of God. And as this is true for me, it is true for everyone here and everyone viewing online and everyone who happens to find this CD 20 years from now. All unified within the one. And as we begin today, the first Sunday of what humanity calls the year of 2014, it is one more day in eternity for God. And so I claim for each one of us that this is the best year by whatever standard we measure. It is the best year of health and vitality and prosperity and love and divine expression and usefulness and healing and balance that all of us have ever experienced before, and it's better than we can imagine. For as we set that in motion, the universe only says yes. So better than I can imagine is what I accept. I accept it for me and all of us. And I await the answer to this prayer in miracles. Oh, it is so good. I deliver this request and thank you to the universe. I deliver it into the law, that manifesting energy. And I know it is being answered right now. And so it is. Amen. Okay, we're ready for 2014. You know, after the holidays, I thought, oh my God, we're starting again. And then today, it's like, we're starting again. Okay. And we're starting with our wonderful, wonderful Bodhi, who has been with me and with you for 10 years. It seems like less and more than that to me. He is our guest and our homie. Our artist this morning. Please welcome Bodhi.
Well, I tried so long to do things my way. Gets me in trouble most every day. Now I feel ready to write a new plan. If you feel it too, let me hear you say I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. Into the arms of spirit.
Good morning again. My name is Michael Hart. I'm a practitioner in this community, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about what we have to offer you. But we like to begin with gratitude, and today we're going to be expressing that towards two people in the front row. One is Francine Huss, who stepped into the breach, living her stand for spontaneity, and took care of us last week when Karyl was away. And the other is Jet Walker, who has just hosted the first of our 5th Sunday brunches. So thank you to both of our members. And in terms of the children, their study today is the power of thought. So I invite you to just close your eyes for a moment and remember that lemon and just cut it open and put half of it on your tongue and notice how you salivate. And now you can replace that with something you'd prefer, maybe a peppermint candy cane or turkey or whatever. I don't want to leave you with the lemon taste, but it just is a tiny demonstration of how strong just even that little thought, that little moment can be. So we bless any children who might arrive in their study of the power of thought today. There are all kinds of things going on in our community, as always, and one of them is that in the next 2 Sundays, the 12th and the 19th, we're going to be having our annual book sale. The bookstore will be closed, but we are asking you to bring any books that you are willing for us to sell and to come ready to buy some that you don't already have. We're also, for the first time in a while, starting a new member process. So this is your opportunity if you've been thinking that you might want to become a member of this wonderful community. There will be a new member orientation for you to explore that possibility on January 19th, Sunday, January 19th. And our Reverend Sarah is doing her monthly Spirituality in Work and Life, Coffee and Conversation at Il Fornau this Thursday at 8 to 9:30. Her topic will be Stepping into the New Year with Trust and Faith. And this is the day to sign up for classes. Our first class of the winter term starts on the 15th, and that is Financial Freedom with Reverend Karyl. Then we have Posey Lyon has created her own class, Be the Oscar-winning director of your own life. That starts on the 11th of February. And Marilyn Letzos will be teaching Self-Mastery, a certificated course, starting on the 24th of February. So all the information, sign-ups, and probably some of those teachers will be here at the education table after church. And another class that we're going to be offering is one that Karyl's going to tell you about right now.
I have a few more things also. Okay, so I am offering Prosperity Plus. That begins on Thursday. I think it's going to be the 16th. Whatever that, a week from Thursday. And we have 2 sign-ups now, which is not enough to hold the class. And I want to encourage everybody who's taken it to take it again, and anyone who hasn't taken it to consider taking it, because you get 2 master teachers. You get me, and you get Mary Mannon Morrissey, who on CD tells stories about your relationship to life and how you can, as she says in the first class, write a check that the universe will cash. It's about establishing a relationship with the creative power of the universe so that you experience the prosperity of all good in every single area of your life. And she goes through all the areas of your life. So it's a wonderful, wonderful class, and I have taught it 3 times. This will be the 4th, and I take it along with you. And I'm telling you, the result of the class for me is these 3 trips that I'm leading this summer. This is an answer to my dream, and so you can have the answer to your dream too, but I'll get to that in a moment. I'm moving now into the partnership corner with Ukraine. Now, on the back of your bulletin, there is a few paragraphs about the partnership corner, and the words are a translation from Ukrainian, and so they're adorable and not exactly right English, but they are so genuine about the appreciation of the people in Ukraine to us. So for 12 years or so, we have given 5% of the money that comes to us on Sunday to Ukraine. Because we believe in tithing, the other 5% goes to our home office. So you are supporting Ukraine. And because that is a significant amount of money, they have thrived in part because of our contribution. And their gratitude is so palpable. There is a recording in Ukrainian that we're trying to figure out how to play for you. And everybody on the CD, the recording, says, they just yell, spasibo, 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 which is thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's going on, in addition to them being very grateful to us, is that they're very grateful to everybody that has contributed to them, because they're going to be able to buy their first property in Ukraine, which will go and be their office. And so they are absolutely thrilled about that, which is something that we can lean into, because we have been wanting to buy our own place forever. And so that's basically it, forever. So that's what I want to share with you today, their joy of their new building and their gratefulness to us. Thank you, GGCSL, for your ongoing support. We are learning to stand in the same trust and faith as you have. We are all so blessed. We like to get to know you. So that's one of those wonderful little translations. So that's the Partnership Corner. We love you, Reverend Barbara, and all of you in Ukraine. Ya lublю vous, is that I love you? Oh, okay. What? Say it loud. I don't know whether we picked that up, but we do love you. So I wanted to share a little bit about the 3 trips that I'll be leading. These are sacred journeys to sacred sites, Wales, England, and Scotland. This is the flyer that lists them all. They're over there on the events table. And there are also extended flyers on each one of these trips. So you can pick up what you need. There's also a sign-up sheet if you want more information, because I have detailed itineraries for each one of these trips. And each one, sometimes I talk to people and they say, well, I've already been to England. It's like saying I've already been to America. And to go to sacred sites with people that know them, the people that I work with, and me. I'm getting to be, one of those little druid folks myself. So I encourage you to think about giving this gift to yourself. And the last thing I want to say is that on February 1st, I am stepping in. This is another manifestation of Prosperity Plus. I'm doing an event. Instead of inviting Neil Donald Walsh, you get me. You get me doing an event. It's called Making Heaven on Earth Your Worldview is Your World. It's going to be on February 1st. That's a Saturday night. It's right here. It's going to be of the caliber of Solstice. And so there will be tickets sold, $20. There are flyers over there. I encourage you to take the flyers and post them where you go. And I could use some assistance. Paula of the events team is helping, and if any of you are like, wow, that sounds really great, come and talk to me, and I'll give you a little job. And I'm so excited about this. This is my growing edge. I'm going to entertain you for 2 hours and 15 minutes or something, and help you to make heaven on earth. All right, those are the announcements. That's it. Now we get to launch into 2014, and I'm so excited about this. So, Bodhi's saying, I'm ready to let go, and I hope that if there was any vestige of the past, see, I've been to England so many times, that's the way I say past, the past. So if there are any vestiges of the past, I hope you have let them go. Because there is an opening here. There's an opening in consciousness that everybody on the planet knows. This is the first Sunday of 2014. This is the beginning of a brand new baby year. And we get to make it what we want. So the title of my talk is let's start at the very beginning. And this is, if you remember the Sound of Music, that's the Do Re Mi song. Let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. When you read, you begin with A, B, C. When you sing, you begin with Do, Re, Mi. All right, there we go. We're going to not sing that anymore. But when we start at the very beginning here, we start with this philosophy that has literally saved so many lives. This empowering, positive view of life and our place in it. This is a worldview that has come into the world called Science of Mind that is a compilation of all wisdom traditions. The thread that is common in Eastern, Western, scientific, psychological, and common sense wisdom traditions, that thread is what we study. And so the theme for 2014 is the year of yes, living what we believe. So you should have received one of these pieces of paper as you came in. We will have these available all year long. This is our working document all year long, which is sort of like, but not exactly, the poster that we have here, and I'll explain it all. So, in 1927, our founder, Ernest Holmes, was asked, "What do you believe?" And there's something in the sound. I'll use the handheld. Okay, so he was asked, "What do you believe?" And he wrote an essay entitled "What I Believe" in the October 1927 issue of Science of Mind magazine. October 1927 was the first publication of this magazine, and it has been coming out every single month since October 1927. Now that's amazing. So Ernest Holmes wrote this, What I Believe, and it has come down to us over the years as the essay. It's also referred to as the Declaration of Principles. And it is written out here in 12 statements. Isn't that just so great that it's 12 statements? And what we're going to do is we're going to take one per month and really look into it as to how to enhance your life, because proving the principles to ourselves is what makes this philosophy useful. Otherwise, it's not. It really is nothing. It is. It's. And this is a Mary Morrissey quote: "Inspiration without actualization is hallucination." And so we don't want to think about it. We want to think it. The difference between thinking about it is, gosh, there's this joke about a science of minder who died. And they go up to heaven, and there's a fork in the road. And there's a sign that says lectures about heaven that goes this way, and a sign that says heaven this way. And the Science of Mind person is going like this. That's the whole joke. Do I go to lectures about heaven, or do I go to heaven? We want to go to heaven. So that's what we're doing this year. So there's going to be 4 aspects to this theme this year. The first is a deep understanding of our philosophy. What is meant by these words, and how are they reflected in universal wisdom, and why is this important to us? And how can we be comfortable, joyful, unafraid, useful, and contented within this philosophy, living this philosophy? And if you want to practice Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, any other ism, including earth-based ism, and be a science of minder, you can. In fact, that was the original idea Ernest Holmes put this wonderful philosophy together for Methodists and Baptists so that they could live their philosophy with greater power. And so that is what we are about this year. And then the yes part is yes to life. It's like, how can we become passionate within this philosophy? And then how can we take these ideas into our expression of life so that people who see us, see the face of God and the power of this philosophy at work in our lives. So we're going to apply all of this, and we're going to let go of comparison, judgment, boredom, cynicism, reasons why not, so that we can come to the endless opportunities with our great big yes. Let's have a great big yes. Yes, yes. All right. So that's the second prong. We've got 4, like a nice stool that's going to be really secure. The next is practical applications to make our experience better. So we're going to take the understanding of the philosophy and our great big yes, and we're going to apply this to situations in our life so that we can live a better life, so that we actually can go through this year and have solutions to things that hurt us. And we're going to be able to share the ideas in an understandable way with people who are saying, where do you go? What do you do on Sunday? Because, if you just read this essay from beginning to end, there's a lot of big words in it and complex ideas. And no wonder people in our communities say, what can I tell people? What can I tell people? This is such a great philosophy, but what can I tell people? We're going to have endless things you can tell people about why you're so happy. And then the fourth leg is making connections through small groups. So over the year, we're starting with however many small groups we have. Right now, today we have 4. There's one more week now that you can sign up as a leader. That's at the events table right over there. When you are a leader, you offer your home, and you maybe offer hot water for tea. And everybody will have a self-directed curriculum. And once a month, you will gather and discuss these ideas. And then on your sheet here that has the lines under each one of these statements, you are going to write what that means to you. And what do you believe about these statements? And so the leader is really just so important because they provide the space. And we could use some more. And as the year progresses, we might add more. But we're going to start filling these groups next week. So there's really nothing to do except being hosts. And we've got 4 fabulous people and a couple of couples. Okay, so that's what we're going to do this year. So shall we start at the very beginning? Yes. Yes! All right. The first statement up there, and if you have this, let's read it together. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. Well, isn't it a good thing that we have 4 Sundays to unpack this? Yes. So today, the word is one. Because it starts with one. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one. And then the adjectives, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent. This one manifests itself. So up there, if you notice, we've got a line for every single Sunday of 2014. And beginning at the very beginning, we've got one on the first line. The altar today by Janet exemplifies one. I think this is such a it's like a Rorschach. You know, it means so many things. That mirror-like thing in the middle can be the reflection of God, because you can kind of see yourself in it. And Janet, I know, was thinking that is the infinite self-knowingness of God. But it's also that silvery goop out of which everything is made. It is the infinite cause that makes itself into everything. So, if you have any little issue with the word God, I don't want you to worry about that, because, you know, Ernest Holmes used a lot of very strange and interesting words to describe the one. He used the thing itself, the stuff, stuff, capitalized, stuff of the universe. Also the source, the ground of being, the origination of everything, the source and substance of everything, the beginning of everything. That is why, in using English, which we all do, the pronoun that often is used for God is it. And it isn't as good as it needs to be, because it's impersonal. But he and she is limiting because it excludes half. And so that's why a lot of times we don't even use a pronoun. We try to use one of these bigger words. And so in January, what I want us all to do is to think of as big of God as we can possibly think, or as big as the stuff as we can possibly think, and then know that it is infinitely more, infinitely more. And try to get away from, as I do, the anthropomorphic anything when I use and when I think about this allness. Now, the thing about anthropomorphism that we'll get to in this essay is that we usually when we fall in love with a person that looks like us, you know, with a head and 2 arms and 2 legs. And so for the love of this infinite presence to be like what we fall in love with on earth is so understandable, to have God being a big, big person. So we'll get into that intimacy and that love and that sweet stuff. But in this month, it is it. It is the allness. It is the one. It is the thing itself. And all of those bubbling possibilities that are embroiled in the center of that frame. Now, this is very common to other traditions. I have 2 books here, my book and this book called Oneness. And in this book called Oneness, I'm going to read to you from Hinduism. He is the one God hidden in all beings, all-pervading, the self within all beings, watching over all worlds, dwelling in all beings, the witness, the perceiver. And from Sikhism, there is but one God whose name is true. He is the creator, immortal, unborn, self-existent. Those are translations, of course. I wonder if they have a pronoun that is generic in those languages. And then the book that I put together, from John Muir, the naturalist. When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. And then from Black Elk, Native American. The first piece, which is the most important, is that which comes within the souls of people when they realize their relationship, their oneness with the universe and all its powers. And when they realize at the center of the universe dwells the Great Spirit, and that its center is really everywhere. It is within each of us. Indra's net from Hinduism speaks of this oneness, as well as string theory from science. So this one is receptive, it is connecting, it is holy, and it makes itself into everything. It is in us and it is around us. It made us, it loves us, it is us, it lives in us, and everyone else with no exceptions. And the best experience that we have on this earth plane is feeling this oneness. That is why we do everything. That is why we shake hands. That is why we make love. That is why we love delicious food. That is why we go into work that we love, so that we can express our unique, individualized essence and interact with other people. And it is also why we participate in addictions, because it is so painful for us to feel separate that we need to dull it. So, yearning for this experience of oneness is why we do everything. And this experience has been called many things: peak experience, nirvana, high, and heaven. All of those words and more are an attempt to label the experience of oneness. And so, looking at the converse, when we think of something besides oneness, when we think of two-ness, two-ness leads us to pain. It's not the truth. So there are not two. There's no separation. There's no being outside of God. There's no hell. There's no duality. And when we feel that, we're living a lie. All right, okay? This is all very theoretical. Let's get down to living it. Living in the oneness. So, a lot of times, most of the time, if you're like me, you're not in this ecstatic place of bliss feeling the oneness. If we, sat in meditation for years and years and years and lived in a cave and came out every once in a while, we'd have a better chance of experiencing that. But when we realize that we're not in the oneness, there are things that we can do to get back into it. And they're very simple, and they're a little bit difficult. I don't know why they're difficult. Maybe I won't even say they're difficult, but here's the first one. So you see what you think. Surrender. So, this is an important step back to oneness, and it's very, very effective. And it means to accept whatever is going on in your life without judgment. And to just know that it's for your highest and greatest good, and there's nothing outside God, no one or nothing is against you. So, where I was last week was in Burbank. And the reason that I went to Burbank was I was invited by the senior minister who, after more than a decade, had his associate minister, who had been his right-hand lady. She resigned. And she was called away from that ministry. And so he called me to do a ritual of transformation for the whole community. So the community, you know what could happen. You know, the community, why'd she leave? Oh, something must be wrong. Da-da-da-da-da. He didn't want any of that to happen. And so he invited me to do a transformative ritual where Reverend Ann came through the portal. That was the lady who resigned, and how fabulous this was for her expression. And then there was another person who had resigned, how fabulous it was for their expression. And then Reverend Harry came through, because he is now going to have to do all that he does and all that Ann did. Now, this could be problematic for some people, and not for Harry, because he is surrendered. He said to me, in all sincerity, he said, it took a blink of an eye when she told me she was leaving to check in and know that this was still my place to serve. And what he says is, what do we do now, beloved? Beloved being the beloved of his soul, the infinite source. No resistance, absolute surrender to what is. No upset, no conflict, no nothing, except surrender and the question, what do we do now, beloved? So he remained in oneness, which is so great for his community. And we did the ritual, and everybody was completely happy. And thank you, Francine, for taking my place. And it was good work that you did here and that I did there. Okay. Can you see how this could work in your life, maybe? Okay. Next is practice. This is recognizing when we have been in separation and leaving that mindset behind. Recognizing when we're in judgment, when we're in comparison, when we're in conflict, when we're in criticism, when we're in us and them, when all of that stuff. When recognizing that little feeling and saying, no, this is not the truth. So, oh gosh, this is such a heartfelt story for me. I have been in judgment about tattooed people. You can tell what's coming, right? So Melanie... Melanie, after Christmas, says, Mom, Bianca and I are getting tattoos. So, Bianca is her roommate in college. And so I go, oh, what? So, Bianca was going to get a seahorse right here, and Melanie was going to get an elephant right here. Not your little dime-sized tattoos, mind you. These were big old things. So I didn't say anything. Praise God. And then she says, do you want to come? And so there was only yes, of course. And so this was on New Year's Day. This was in a lovely, well-lit tattoo parlor with a lovely tattooed man and three college girls and me. And so Bianca went first, and Bianca wanted me to tell a story. Well, I haven't told a story for 40 years. I mean, like a once upon a time story that I made up as I talked it. I mean, I tell stories every Sunday, but not once upon a time there was, a bear cub and a tree spirit. And so that was Bianca's story. And then it was Melanie's turn. And the ribs, I understand, are a very painful place to have a tattoo. So she was on the table there, and she said, Mom, you got to tell me a story. So I held her hand, and for an hour and a half, I told a story about Melanie leaning up against the dream tree, and the bear cub coming, and then a snake coming out of the tree and coiling around her and sleeping in her lap, and then her elephant coming, and them talking about many things for an hour, and then which I don't remember what they talked about, but they talked for a long time, and then they were all hungry. And so then they smelled this wonderful vendor who was coming with a great vegetarian casserole. And at this point, the tattoo man, who had been just as quiet as the other three children, piped up and said, what about the snake? And so, Spirit in me said, whoa, there is an old mouse that is staying warm in the chafing dish just under the casserole and really, really wants to be useful in his life. And when the mouse sees the snake and the snake sees the mouse, there is a beautiful understanding, and the mouse walks into the mouth of the snake. And so they all had their vegetarian meal, and then they all leaned up against the tree, and the tree made these great berries that came down and fell on the bread that was left, the hot bread from the oven, and the berries made them see visions. And the tattoo man piped up again and said, they were tripping. And I go, yes, they were tripping. And so they all were tripping, leaning up against the tree, and the dream tree grew the branches around them, and they all meditated on a world that worked for everybody. And, and that was the end of the hour-and-a-half story. And there was a place in there where one of the other girls was in tears because of the love and the light in the room. She just said that, and I had not met this girl before, and she said, "There's so much love here, I have to cry." This was oneness. And what happened for the rest of the evening was that Melanie deepened her own experience by referring back to places in the story. And then you said this, Mom, and then you said this, Mom, and then she said, "It's so perfect." And this was on the first day of 2014. And so I had the experience of stepping out of judgment and stepping into this heaven. Heaven in the tattoo parlor. So we went for a beer to celebrate, and there was this guy with tattoos everywhere that sold us the beer and served it and sold it. And I said, "You know what happened to me? I have an unexplained affection for everyone with tattoos now." That's what happens when you step out of judgment. Oneness happens because it's the natural thing. And lastly is stepping into yes. So when we have surrendered to what is, and when we have practiced, then whatever comes to us, quicker and quicker and quicker, we can say, "What now, beloved, and how is this a blessing?" I've told this story before of a workshop that I did with Paulette Davis, who's spoken here before, and she sets us to work, and there's a problem. There looks to me in my small group that there is a problem that we cannot overcome. We are going to all disintegrate and just fall out of the workshop because it's not working. So I say, "We have a problem," and Paulette's answer is, "Great!" Because she knows that a problem is not a breakdown, but a breakthrough. And so, if you have an issue with any of these things, I really encourage you to take class and to see a practitioner. Because all it is reframing what comes to you in this world of form. And then you are bringing heaven to earth. And we get to have the best of everything. We get to have the best of heaven, and we get to have the beauty of form. Oh, how blessed we are. So, as I was concluding this talk, I thought, you know how last year we had a principle every week? This year, I'm going to give you a little phrase every week that you can say to your friends so that you can take this complex, 1927 language and make it very, very, very simple. So today, and we might call this taking it to the world. You can say to your friends, "Where I attend services, they teach that everything is connected and holy." That feels so good to me. For example, and then you can tell a story of your own. So taking it to the world is this phrase: everything is connected and holy. Let's say that. Everything is connected and holy. That's the essence of this talk. That's the essence of the first statement. And that's the truth. And it's pretty simple. Everything is connected and holy. Everything is connected and holy. Let's do the inner work now. So I invite you, as you contemplate that beautiful set of ideas that everything is connected and holy. That you imagine that your edges are becoming very porous. And you allow love to invade you. It's really like your skin becomes porous. Just like when you have a wonderful smell, the smell just can permeate your sinuses and have that be an entire experience. Imagine that that can happen with your whole body, and the essence of love flows in just like the most wonderful aroma that you can imagine. And the same with wisdom. Wisdom is all around you, and it seeps into you. Not just in your brain, which we think of as the organ that downloads divine mind, but everywhere is wisdom. In your liver is wisdom, and in your toes are wisdom. And any new thought is available. And as I'm talking, if there are thoughts that come to you now, see them as little clouds that come and go. Even the greatest new thoughts, you can let them go because divine wisdom is all around you. Your essence is golden light within an infinity of golden light. It is like the candle flame within the white fire of spirit. It is the drop in the ocean. We love the drop, and we love the ocean. Invite, if you would, incomparable good feelings of oneness to take you over. It is very good because everything is connected and holy. Blessed be. So the first Sunday of 2014 begins your pledge year for 2014. If you have not pledged, it would help a lot if you would, just to let us know how much money we pretty much have to work with. If you haven't pledged yet, there's a pledge card right over there on the education table where you can sign up for classes as well. So if you are putting a check in, just hold that near your heart. Cash, the same thing. If you have pledged automatically and have one of those little cards that says I've already pledged, hold that next to your heart. Otherwise, all of the supply is in that space between your hand and your heart. Everything that you could ever need. And we give from that has been given to us. And we create that flow in our lives of goodness of all kinds. Generosity of spirit flowing out. Grateful receptivity flowing in. What a wonderful pattern. I give my thanks for all of this generosity and all of the love in this room. Blessed be. Would the ushers please receive the gifts? Of the morning. I am one with God, and all of our good is one with us, and all of the good in this community is one with us. We are so blessed and so grateful, and so it is. Amen. All righty, we're just about finished with the first Sunday, so make sure that if you want to sign up to be a host, that's over there at the events table. The flyer about my event is at the events table, along with the trips and all of the classes to sign up for, because they start next week. So I'm so happy to be here and starting this year with you. I invite Michael to pray us out.
Would the practitioners on duty come forward? These practitioners give you freely of their time and their love to sit with you after this service if there's anything left that you want to celebrate or work through with them. And with the rest of the practitioners, please surround us with that loving consciousness. As we join together in spiritual mind treatment, closer than my breath, more intimate than the deepest love, bigger than all the universe, truer than unknown truth. One life lives itself here, now. in every part of its creation, in every place that there is, in every breath, in every gill, in every crawling movement, in all that there is only one. That causes, that creates, simply by knowing itself, is right here. It surrounds me. And it indwells me. And as it surrounds and indwells me, so it surrounds and indwells each and every one of its creations, each and every one within the sound of my voice, the one life pulsing the blood, circulating, animating, eliminating, absorbing, creating again and again the perfection of life, each breath, each day, each year, each lifetime, each evolution and revolution of particulate matter becoming again and again ever new and ever the same life living itself. And so I speak my word for our knowing of this, for that in each soul that calls forth to be known and to know at the most intimate level, that each one within the sound of my voice might have a new realization on this new day of this new year, a new realization of the value, of the belonging, of the significance, of the insignificance, of the significance of the whole, of the smallness of the one, of the greatness of the one, of the smallness of the whole, so that each of us might step forward in this moment into that surrender, into that place of yes, that is the practice of science of mind. And I celebrate this. I give thanks for that willingness to be willing, for that new opening to the experience and the exploration of good, of that which we call God. As I release this my word to its law, to the one mind, to the law of mind that knows everywhere what it knows anywhere, so that in this moment and from this moment on, to the degree that each one accepts it, the truth flows through their lives as the all-knowing good. And so it is.
I invite you all to stand for our affirmation and closing song. Right up here with me. I believe that the one life, source, essence, and starting place of everything is my source, the beloved of my soul. I am one with it, and it is one with me. I cannot be lost or separated. I am one with God.